You know, in 1946, all of the GIs came back here to the campus. And among them were about 350 football players. And the coaching staff didn't know quite how to handle that many players. We decided we would run a series of wind sprints. And when we called out all of the fullbacks, the fellow that ran first was Muddy Waters. I want to tell you, he ran that a lot faster than he did my obituary just a few minutes ago. I said to him, what's your name? And he said, Frank Waters. I said, well, anybody that's named Waters ought to be named Muddy. Can I call you that? He said, you sure can, Coach. You sure? Yes, you did. I've been having a wonderful evening here with all my friends, even including Evie. And I'm going to tell you this, when I first met Evie, was on the field, he mentioned, it was his sophomore year, my senior year, he spent about half of the afternoon in my lap. In fact, he was maybe all the afternoon in my lap. Well, it's an honor to be recognized by your alma mater, be recognized in meetings like this with your many friends, and I just want to express a very deep thanks for that. There are many people responsible for my being here. My father, my mother who made me study, my father who played here, as Muddy mentioned, in 1911 and 12, who always said, boy, when you get to state, we're going to beat Michigan, because he lost, the one game he played, he lost 6-3, and he never forgot it. Unfortunately, he didn't live to see that happen. I owe a lot to my brother, Jimmy, who went here and played here as a freshman, got hurt, never played as a varsity man, but I owe a lot to him because all summer long, every summer, he and I practiced together, practiced passing, kicking, running, and he really helped me a lot. I owe a lot to John Hanna. He made it possible for me to return to Michigan State after I defected to West Point. Mr. Forrest Akers, you know his golf course out here. Mr. Akers was my mentor. He was always very supportive of Michigan State and all of its efforts as a member of the Board of Trustees for 18 years. George Alderton. George Alderton really was the publicity guy for Michigan State. I'm sure that if there hadn't been any George Alderton around here, I never would have made the All-American team. And as a matter of fact, through George, it was the first time I found out that I had made it. He called me up the night before it was going into the papers and told me that I had made it. And he was just as delighted as I was. Also responsible were the coaches and players that I was with here during my years. Bunch of guys working their way through school, no football scholarships, 3,500 students playing the biggies of those days and beating them, winning, to the point that we won the recognition that brought us to the Orange Bowl, the first bowl team of any Michigan State team. I'm not going to discuss any more about the Orange Bowl because we lost it. As a matter of fact, we set an all-time record for bowl teams in that game. We'll never be beaten. We had only 2 first downs, and no one will ever beat that record. I played on many teams in my football career. I played on the East-West team. I played in the Army All-Star team during World War II. I played in the College All-Stars that Bob McCurry played on. But the best team that I played on was the Orange Bowl team at Michigan State. And I mean team, exclamation point. They were terrific. It was a privilege to play with those guys. A couple of them were here tonight. Al Diebold, Ole Nelson, Ernie Bremer, Ron Alling. I can name every one of them. And they were terrific. And there weren't a bunch of All-Americans on that team, but they and we were a team. And it was a great privilege to play with them. Finally, I owe a lot of thanks to my wife, Isabel. She told me not to say this, who was my college sweetheart, and for her great support when we were students here and for the years since in college and beyond. I owe a lot to Michigan State. I owe a lot to all of our friends who are here tonight, and I thank you very much, and God bless.